Let's talk about the best types of VR games you should get, as VR is still in a brand new situation going down in this world as tech evolves. Let's just break down some of the categories that I feel if you're new to VR or if you have no clue what to do in VR, these are what you should be aiming for, because these are people that are technically like mastering these types of experiences when it comes to VR. And so yeah, let's jump into it. So the very first one I want to cover, of course, is VR FPS. There are a ton of FPS games, but if you want an actual like directional output of what I think when you're looking into VR FPS, you're either looking at like Ghost of Tabor or Contractors, maybe would be my favorite ones, that their devs are always on point with everything. Contractor Showdown has a battle royale coming up. If you like battle royale, Population 1 is like still popping right now, but I would say anything VR FPS is pretty much, there's so many. There's a lot of solid ones too, right? Like Onward and like I just mentioned, Population 1. The kings of the helm though right now are Ghost of Tabor and Contractors. Either way, find yourself a well-polished, there's Veil VR that just came out. Just find yourself a polished VR FPS game and you're gonna definitely be in great hands. Next, what I want to talk about is like combat games. Combat games are so fun in VR. Now, combat does really go into far more realistic type combat, which is like boxing or like any type of UFC component. Or like if you're looking into a funnier combat like physics types games like Bone Lab, Blade and Sorcery, or you just want to go your traditional like Creed, Thrill of the Fight in VR. Either way, get yourself a polished or a Battle Talent, of course, which was free. You know, one of the best free games ever. Get yourself a nice combat game if you're in VR. There is a pretty good amount of those that really, physics is usually a little bit more popular versus just your standard traditional boxing. But my personal favorite, I like boxing just because of the realism. I feel way more immersed with boxing. It's just mad hilarious to play boxing games. Like you hear the sound and the haptic of it in the reaction time. It's just mad funny. But yeah, just do you. Get yourself a combat game though. Next, at number 3, I will probably go into more of your rhythm-based games. These are very popular, just as popular as VR FPS. Literally, VR, when you put on the headset, you're going to see thrown in your face is going to be FPS games and a lot of rhythm-based games. So get yourself Beat Saber, technically, or Synth Riders, maybe Pistol Whip, you know, just something that where you're moving to the beat. It kind of gets you used to the VR environment. And if you're someone who is very new to VR, you don't want to play too much of a game that causes for you to go smooth turn, a lot of locomotion going on. At least you can stay kind of standard put, learn the game, feel the environment and the immersion, get locked in and have fun for a while before you start graduating to more stuff. But if you're already an advanced user, just have one of these in rotation. It's a great game to just clock out, jam out, sweat a little bit, have fun. And Beat Saber is the baby face of virtual reality, at least of Quest. And so there, get yourself a rhythm-based game. There's plenty of them. I would say Beat Saber, Synth Riders, or Pistol Whip though. All right, the next one, in my opinion, I would say get yourself a social experiences type app. So you're looking into these, the head honchos of these is like VR Chat or Rec Room. Maybe even Gorilla Tag at times. Just something where you can socialize. But of course, like any other social experience, even in the real world today, just watch out for the damn weirdos. Just watch out for, you know, just be safe on where you're entering and who you're talking to. Like VR is still very open in this regard, so please be safe on what the hell you're doing. VR Chat is always the best social experience, but again, like it does have some weirdos on there. So again, please, I advise y'all to just be safe if you're going to be using these social experiences. Even myself, man, when I jump into these, I make sure I stay muted a lot. I just kind of, I just do what I do myself, man. It's like if you're traveling the world, it's a multiverses / metaverse / multiple worlds going on in VR Chat and social experiences like Rec Room and all that. So just go in and have a safe mindset of like, don't engage with just random people. Go in with friends, or if you're going to go in alone, just kind of like if you're traveling the world alone, just don't really engage in weird stuff with people trying to like really approach you at times. Just be safe on stuff like that. But get yourself a social experience app. I would say VR Chat, because there's a lot of good stuff when you're on the good side of it. Just stay away from everything else. It's just like your regular world today. You know, if you stay safe in the world today, just stay away from all the dangerous stuff. So yeah, get yourself a social experiences app. Those are well worth it, in my opinion, especially for virtual reality, on how we're trying to move across and technology with all these avatars. VR Chat is like the OG of all that. not really up to par graphics, but it kind of lets you know where the world is going with technology these days. And they have a lot of great ways to just kind of hang out, play games, watch movies, do mini games, like whatever it is you're deciding to do, you can definitely do in VR chat. Last but not least, I guess you can say I will do more of like an immersion experience. So campaigns, so story mode games. Get yourself at least one story mode game when you get a virtual reality headset. Just because you can tell they put a lot of heart and soul into the campaign games. Get a polished one. I would say like Resident Evil, Asgard's Wrath. Those will probably be like my two top ones right there, just due to the notion of like, I don't know, man. You could tell that there's a lot of thought and care into those games because it's a lot of a slower pace. It's not really a one and done situation. It's more like it's one and done later, after you put the hours into the story and beat the story and all that. But I would say you can tell like Resident Evil and Asgard's Wrath, they put a lot of love and care into those games. So enjoy it, take it slow, do all the quests around. I'd say those two are probably the ones I would recommend for a campaign. Look for the most immersive experience in a story mode, and I'd say one of those, man. Just find one that's polished and well reviewed and enjoy it, because that's usually where you get a lot of immersion too, aside from like the boxing games and stuff. Really enjoy that. And then honorable mention, of course, I would say probably sports games, I guess. I mean, maybe golf. They have the Pro Era Part 2. Some baseball would be fun due to the earlier, I guess, adaptations of virtual reality. But get yourself a sports game. That would be the honorable mention. I wouldn't really race for that first. There still needs to be a lot of polishing in a lot of sports games. And I would wait for, Quest has a few new feature updates. So maybe when they upgrade all those, then you can start looking into sports games. Because they're doing the multi-model, and they also do the simultaneously now hand tracking and controller and the V62 updates. So I would wait till like that becomes a little bit more fluid, wider versions and wider variations of hand tracking, much more inclusive with all your fingers and stuff. Then you can start really getting into like full on hand tracking, inside and out body tracking type situations with AI helping you out to boost that experience of sports. Right now, I feel that sports are just it's a hit or miss depending on how immersive you want to be. Me, I'm very active, so I want to really play. But the Pro Era is pretty good. The golf is pretty good also in VR, but tennis, table tennis too, and again, they're solid. I feel like they could be way better though. All in all, that's why I said Pro Era. The NFL one is actually really solid because they have a sequel already, and it's made by people within that direction of professional American football, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, y'all let me know what's up, man. What games you think, or what categories you feel that are missing, or what you should think, or what I should be adding. I think that's a solid amount of games you should be looking into if you're jumping into VR, especially social experiences, and especially ones that are quality and free. Please get those ASAP. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.